Well, the Democratic Alliance will approach the courts yet again in the Cadre Deployment matter. It will seek the court to order ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula's arrest for not handing over the Cadre Deployment records. It comes after the Supreme Court of Appeal dismissed with costs the ANC's application for leave to appeal the Gauteng High Court in Johannesburg's dismissal of its bid to appeal an earlier ruling ordering it to hand over the records to the DA. Now, in the order issued earlier this month, the court cites no reasonable prospects of success. The ANC indicated that it will turn to the Constitutional Court in a final bid to appeal. But the DA says the ANC has missed the deadline imposed by the court. The DA will subsequently launch a court application for contempt and hopes to send Mbalula to prison.
The DA can reveal that the ANC is in contempt of court over an order issued by the Supreme Court of Appeal which compelled the ANC to make public its cadre deployment records. In response to the ANC's defiance of this court ruling, the DA is approaching the courts for an order of contempt and will seek the committal to prison of ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula. Since the ANC's doomed appeal at the Supreme Court of Appeal was filed under Mbalula's name, he has made himself guilty of the same contempt of court offence that led to the imprisonment of former President Jacob Zuma. The DA will consequently launch a court application to send Mbalula to prison using the very precedent established in the Zuma case. This is because the ANC is in contempt of the order issued by the Supreme Court of Appeal on the 4th of September. The court ordered that the ANC must hand over complete records of its cadre deployment committee during the period when President Cyril Ramaphosa was its chairman to the DA within 5 days. The ANC initially indicated that it would appeal this ruling to the Constitutional Court. However, the ANC has missed the 15-day deadline imposed by the court, which means the ANC is now in contempt of court in the absence of any appeal to the Constitutional Court.
Right, so on this, we're going to be joined via Teams by political analyst Rebone Tau to weigh in on the debacle between the ANC and the DA regarding cadre deployment documents. Rebone, good afternoon. Thank you for your time with us here on the SABC.
Good afternoon to the viewers. Thank you for having me.
At this point, let's get your reaction. News coming in, of course, that the ANC now having defied the court order to hand over the documents to the DA.
I think it's very interesting that the ANC in many occasions has made it clear that they respect the rule of law. And with them not wanting to give this the cadre deployment minutes to the public, it's clear that they also undermine the rule of law. You know, when it suits them, they respect the rule of law. When it does not suit them, and especially because they have lost also at the Supreme Appeals, you know, trying to stop those records being public, you know. And if you look at it from a political point of view, obviously, elections are coming up. This has got a potential to damage the ANC's campaign, especially after the Zondo Commission. And we know that not much has been done also by President Ramaphosa, the commitments that he made during the SONA that they will have a plan of action, you know, to deal with the recommendations of the Zondo Commission. Up to date, nothing has been done.
Thank you. Thank you for those sentiments, because then I wonder, given what you've just alluded to now, the impact on the ANC and what this has on its image heading into elections, in the same breath, what does this do for the opposition then as well?
I mean, this gives the DA, for an example, you know, as a party, you know, that is wanting to hold the ruling party accountable. And in terms of those who might be still undecided voters, some might consider, you know, to vote for the DA, you know, looking at how they are wanting to hold the ANC accountable for what has happened, we can say, over the past or during the tenure of former President Jacob Zuma's tenure.
Speaking about accountability, I wonder if we can explore the options then available for the ANC at this time. Also, the dangers and the limits of the DA's court approach.
I mean, as we had, you know, the clip that the ANC is also maybe considering going to the Constitutional Court. Now, remember that when the Zondo Commission came about, you know, a decision was taken that the then President Jacob Zuma should get a judge, you know, from the Constitutional Court, and that's how the current Chief Justice, Zondo, was appointed, to be the chair of that committee. So it will also be very interesting if the Constitutional Court will entertain this, but the DA right now has got the upper hand over the ANC on this matter. And if the Constitutional Court does not make it clear to the ANC that they have to release this public records, then there's contradiction based on the Zondo Commission report.
Well, speaking about the upper hand then, how is this also going to impact the DA and other political parties? What if the ANC turns around and demands, the documents or their policies from the DA and other parties? Is this a double-edged sword?
Well, on the issue of the ANC, the difference that there is a basis, and the basis is the Zondo Commission, Had there not been a state capture commission, then it will be very difficult for the DA to argue why the ANC must make these records public. And this was something that even the current president was asked, during his tenure when he was the deputy president, when he was the chair of the deployment committee, what decisions were made, in terms of the deployments that were there. So if the ANC, for example, will say the DA must make their records public, I think there should be a case that says in this municipality, for example, I'll just give an example, maybe like the Cape Town city, maybe there's been corruption, and probably there's people that have been deployed in that from the DA, and there should be a case, for them to really push for other parties to make their deployment minutes public. So it makes it very difficult for the ANC when they are the ones who are in trouble at this present moment. And there is a case, that we can make reference to the Zondo Commission that was set up.
Rebone, thank you for that, because now we're looking at, the pressure groups and the political parties heading to courts to deal with the failures of government. And I wonder if it's enough to address the deeply embedded systemic issues that the country is facing.
Absolutely. In terms of the system, it is a problem, because if you look at the challenges that the people are facing, you have parties also playing politics on the eve of elections. But the question is that how do we then move forward as a country? And unfortunately also under the President Ramaphosa administration, there is not much political will, because you have ministers serving in his cabinet who were mentioned in the Zondo Commission, and nothing has happened. Everything continues. So President Ramaphosa, he's the one who actually is making things very difficult for us to move as a nation, because he speaks about being anti-corrupt and anti-corruption, and wanting to build a developmental state. But people in his cabinet, their reputations have been compromised, and their credibilities have been questioned at the present moment based on the findings of the Zondo Commission.
I wonder at this point also how cadre deployment can in fact be aligned with some democratic ideals. But we'll leave the conversation there for now. Thank you for your time with us on the SABC and for those sentiments. Rebone Tau, political analyst, bring us the latest there. We see the debacle ensues. The ANC, of course, and the DA squaring up against each other. We're looking at where to from here for the ANC, as they obviously failed to hand over the cadre deployment records. What this ultimately also means for the ANC heading closer to elections. Thanks to Rebone for her time with us here on the SABC.